Well, welcome back to our second segment. Of course, we're with Dr. Barb Provost, her PhDs in how adults learn. This is what we're talking about all this week on how to engage adults, but more specifically, how we engage women. And I believe women will own the purse strings in America all over the next decade. We're going to have a huge transfer of wealth, and they're going to be running the show. I want to talk about how to create an engagement setting. Mm-hmm. Now, I punt sometimes because I want to just think about dating, but I haven't dated in such a long time. So I talk about engagement setting. How do I can create that as an advisor?
Well, I like the dating analogy because oftentimes you are setting up an atmosphere of where you're going to build trust, and you're going to build safety, and you're going to build an open dialogue, because they are going to reveal some information to you that's personal, their finances, their income, what their dreams are, things like that. So first and foremost, I would say you need to really invite the woman into the conversation. Now, how you do that is,
how do you do that?
is, sometimes it depends on if you're with a man and a woman in terms of a partnership, or just a woman herself or whomever. But you really need to ask good open-ended questions. You need to look her in the eye, and you need to stop talking and listen. Acknowledge. And when she says something that is important, that you think is important to her financial future, you need to write it down and acknowledge that.
How important are these steps that you just brought up?
They are critical.
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 Not optional.
No.
So you're really giving us a formula that you don't want us to break.
True. Remember, this is an engagement process. Mm-hmm. This is not a sales process. This is a way of starting to build some foundation of trust.
Now, I noticed when you're talking about what she wants, and are most women communicative? Are they going to be able to voice and articulate what they really desire? Is that too early on maybe in the process?
I don't think so. I think that you should always ask the question and give her time to think it through. Maybe no one has ever asked her that question before, so maybe she does need to have some time to think it through. What is it that you want for your financial future? What does that look like for you? What do you want to be able to do? Tell me a little bit about where you've come from. What are your struggles? Because that will tell you a lot about, where she may want to go in the future.
If we're going to use our time well, and we want to stay away from the sales process, which is the temptation and the default position that most male advisors will at least go to, how can I use my time well? And is it better to have a quarantine amount of time? I'm just going to do it 20 or 30 minutes and then say, I didn't want to take any more time. This is our first meeting. Or no, I want a longer engagement. What do you think is the most propensity among women? Time
is really important to discuss. In fact, up front in the conversation, because women are very, very busy, and they want to know what's this meeting about, what can I expect. So what I would always do if I were a financial planner is go to the meeting with kind of an agenda that kind of says, in this meeting today, I'm hoping it will take about 40 minutes, give or take a few, depending on where we go with the conversation. And this is what I'm hoping to do. And tell them what you're going to do, and what by the end of the meeting, what will happen, so on and so forth. And then just say, no, this is an agenda I put together for us to discuss. Is there anything on here that you would like to discuss, or should we just set this aside? What's your agenda? So at least she knows you're going in with a game plan, so she doesn't have to make it up if she's caught off guard. But you're also allowing her the time to voice how she wants to spend the time, or what's burning in her mind that she wants to get answered during that time frame.
I've noticed that if I can remember my normal engagement during my courtship days, I noticed that being on time is a huge issue.
Time is everything.
Because you just said time is really important. So I can't just come in 10 minutes, 15 minutes late. I should be a little bit early and ready to go.
Right.
It shows respect.
Well, it does show respect. What we say in our family is, if you're on time, you're late. So you should always be ready, prepared for the meeting, have everything you need to meet with your client, have some agenda in mind of how you're going to spend that time. And during the meeting, you need to check in with her and say, am I meeting your needs? Are we going down the road that you think we need to go down? Because you may be going down a road you think is important, and she may be thinking something different. But you need to open that dialogue and say, is there anything concerning you at this point? Do you want to shift? What is it that you need?
Dr. Barb, I want to talk to you about something so specific to what you said. I think my observation is that women sometimes are stuffers, that they don't really articulate because they don't feel the comfort, that they're not in a safe environment. Creating a safe environment for them to discuss what they really want to talk about is so important. I'm trying to think about how to shift my thinking as an advisor who's been so dedicated to the sales process and first contact and where to go with it immediately, which I am built that way. I'm trying to now build my agenda with my questions that will actually help the discovery process and help her relax enough to feel confident that I actually have her interest in mind. I don't want to create false sincerity. I actually want to believe what I'm talking about.
True.
So I have to make that graduation. I have to go that way. How do I do that?
You know, when you open the conversation, what would be really powerful is if you told her a little bit about your background and what brings you to selling financial services. And that could be very powerful because you're sharing a little bit about who you are, where you came from, what your purpose is for doing what you do on a daily basis, and it tells her a little bit about you, your credibility, and who you are as a person, and exposes you a little bit to her in terms of what it is that you do on a daily basis. And then she might feel
vulnerability is big.
It is big, very big, yeah. And so she, then she might feel like, a little bit like, whew, he's shared with me a little bit about who he is. Now I feel like I can share a little bit back. It's a little bit of a banter or a dance to see, are we comfortable in this situation? It's kind of like your first coffee.
I don't want to get too much because most guys make a mistake on a date. They talk about themselves all the time.
That's
so
true.
I want to be able to be careful on that and pull back. That's all the time we have for today. Remember, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always consult your tax advisor, legal counsel, or your broker-dealer compliance officer. Missed an episode? Just hop out to our video archives. And remember, you could be wiser as an educated advisor. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you tomorrow.